Woodward Sports is giving you another chance to sit front row, this time at the Detroit versus Green Bay game. Think you have the best Dan Campbell impression?
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Can you say man with the best of them?
I got it. Here's what I need, man. I need you to trust me. I swear to God, I'm not a lunatic. I swear to you.
Can you say, let's go for it on 4th down?
Man, I got a plan, I swear to you. All I think about is you guys. That's all I think about, man.
Are you a master motivator?
That's all I think about is you guys.
Show us in a video. Record your best Dan Campbell impression and post the video on Twitter or Instagram using hashtag Woodward Front Row. We'll select the best 3 impersonations of Motor City Dan Campbell and send you and a guest front row. So knock the dust off the old sweatpants, light some kneecaps, and enter today. And as always, go Lions, man.
I just need you to trust me. That's all. Please.
I don't care if I got 1 toe, 2 butt cheeks, and a rock.
And welcome to the Lions postgame show on woodwardsports.com. My name is Stick. Anson Wells here. We normally start about the 2-minute warning, but there is 2:20 left. The Lions have their 3rd turnover in, I believe, 4 plays. And it looks like the Dallas Cowboys are set up to score again. How you feeling?
I was feeling real good. I felt like I was going to be able to say, it's a trap for the Cowboys. And it sure looked like that through about 3 quarters. And the Lions just absolutely imploded here in the 4th. It's kind of expected. Definitely a drag. I don't know, man. We were hoping for a game that was close at the end here. We got that, at least.
I'm not saying this was expected, because honestly, I didn't expect the Lions to do as well as they were doing in the first half. And look what happens when you kick field goals and punt when it's 4th and 3, even though you're on their side of the field. Like, we were doing the right things. The Lions were playing the right way. They were utilizing their brand new shiny punter that they just signed. It was too good to be true.
Yeah.
That's essentially the situation. So there's 2:14 left. It looks like Pollard's up the middle, down at the 3-yard line. Tackled by Owawarriye, and that'll probably take us to the 2-minute warning.
Yep, it's Ezekiel Elliott time here. Looks like he'll probably end up getting his 2nd rushing touchdown here, unless they leave Pollard in. But you know, when you look at the Lions, when you look at the injuries, and you look at a staff, or excuse me, a roster that is just short of playmakers in general to start the season. When you have a game like this and you're on the road and you're hanging in it, not having a guy like Swift, losing your best wide receiver in the middle of the game, having the holes all over the team that you have, these are games you lose. It's just what happens in the NFL, you know?
Unfortunately, it's what happens to the Lions a lot. I mean, at least we're back to the blaming the officials phase. Can we at least say that's a positive that came out of the day? They really didn't beat themselves a lot. The officials had a lot to do with this, and I'm not a big blame the official guy, but that interception, that really changed the momentum of the entire game. Even Tony Romo admitted that on the broadcast, that, hey, man, that kind of, it was 6-3 at that time. Lions were looking to go in to score, maybe to go up by, what, more double digits?
Maybe get a field goal at least, but then they take it the other way and score a touchdown on that possession coming off of that. You know, we know we're not going to get fair whistle, fair flags in Dallas. It's never happened before. Today, though, that interception was not a pick.
It was not an interception. Okay. That's the thing, and that's not Dan Campbell not challenging it. He can't
That's an automatic challenge
it.
there.
Yeah, that should come from New York. And that was about as blatant as you could ever get on a dropped interception.
And the fact that they came out of the break from the commercial, they don't show anything about it. There's just the first play of the next drive for Dallas, when we should still be looking at this. They should be looking at it in the booth. They should be showing it to us at home. And it wasn't until 2nd down, when they already had guaranteed to keep the ball, that we got a chance to look at it. Clearly moved when he hit the ground. Was not an interception. The Hawkinson spot, I don't believe he was in. I believe he was a couple inches short. But when you put that ball on the 1-yard line...
Yeah, that wasn't Hawkinson. I think that was Bryant or whatever.
The near touchdown?
Yeah, the near touchdown. I thought he was down at the inch line.
And that's the huge difference, because an inch line means...
quarterback
QB sneak,
right?
Versus the fumble that we get. Swaggy,
he can't fumble that ball, though.
No, he cannot.
Cannot fumble that ball. In that moment, my God, because this is where it goes. Like, yeah, we can blame the officials for, the stupid interception that wasn't an interception. You could not blame the officials for fumbling on the 1-yard line when you're going in to take the lead.
No, and hats off to a guy who's been in the league for as long as he has never fumbled the ball and lost it. But your first lost fumble was at a major, major point.
Welcome to the Detroit Lions, where we bring those out of you.
No doubt about it. But then going past that spot, there was a slam down tackle when we were, I think it was, 10-6, and we were making a move. That should have been unnecessary roughness. We should have had a first down. Absolutely.
To me, that was the definition of unnecessary roughness. Like, you had him stop, the whistle was blown, and you picked him up and body slammed him. And I'm all for physical football.
Sure.
I love that stuff.
But that's not the rule anymore.
I don't make the rules. I go by the rules. And to me, that was unnecessary at minimum.
Oh, easily. I mean, when you pick a player up off the ground and turn him sideways and slam him down, that's WWE stuff. It's not NFL stuff. And then there was just so many questionable holding calls, especially in that fourth quarter, where you're looking at, I mean, even on the defensive side, when that guy ran right into Anzalone and hooked him, the tight end, I believe it was
hold on, second and goal from the 2 right now. Dak drops back to pass.
Well, they didn't score. I thought
they did not score. They just scored.
Yep.
Who is that, Dalton Schultz?
No, it's 89, somebody else.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Hendershot.
Sure, why not? Ian Bunting? No, they put up the wrong graphic on CBS.
But yeah, I really had, again, I'm not going to call out the officiating and say that that's what lost this game, but it really put us behind the 8 ball in so many big moments in this game. We're just never going to get a fair whistle as a Detroit Lion, especially in Detroit.
The WoodwardSports.com chat, there's people, stop blaming the refs. You're blaming. No, we're pointing to missed calls. I'm not blaming them. I literally said it's the ref's fault they missed the interception. Mm-hmm. It's not the ref's fault that Swaggy fumbled on the ones. Both things can be true, to quote my man Neil Rule. Yeah. The refs screwed up a lot in this game, and that's okay. I'm on record as saying you got to overcome that, and we do, but we didn't, and that's the problem.
Extra point is up and good, and
I had Dallas's score correct in my prediction.
What was just a 4-point game is now an 18-point game. So what was close for a second no longer is.
Well, that's what happens when you turn the ball over
4-1
3 times in 4 plays.
Yeah, for sure.
3 times in 4 plays. You turn the ball over 3 times in a game, period. But you do that. That's why the tide turns this quickly.
Yeah, and it's the first time we've really seen Goff extremely careless with the ball. 1 fumble, 2 picks. Of course, the Swaggy goal line fumble that we talked about. But these are things that you cannot overcome when you are not that great of a football team, when you are short of players because you're injured. That being said, though, I have to take something positive out of this.
Uh-oh, what do you got?
And from the off rip, we saw familiar sets running different plays. We saw a commitment to the run that I really have been calling for so long. We watched the offensive line dominate for 3 quarters. The defensive line brought a lot of pressure. The coaching staff, I thought, put us in a lot of great situations to make third down stops, to be able to continue the offensive possessions that we had. Saw a little bit of Hutchinson today. Josh Paschal made a nice first appearance, had a couple of plays, or at least some close ones. Dan Campbell.
Oh, my God. Here we go with another one of those. Sorry to interrupt you, Anson.
What happened?
This is the first time the Lions have been held without a touchdown in back-to-back games since 1970. If they finish this game without a touchdown, and I was on the pregame show today with Maz and Booner, and this is what I'm talking. Every game, there's history made by the Lions, and it's some weird thing. Like I thought, oh, Dak's coming back. He's gonna be the first player to come off injury and throw 8 touchdowns or something. There's always some weird thing, and if our number 1 offense in the entire league has gone 2 consecutive games, 8 quarters without a touchdown.
No, we were putting up big yardage, putting up big points without Swift, without St. Brown. What happened to this offense? Have we been figured out? I mean,
that was Maz's point. Once this gets on film in the NFL, once the rest of the league sees the game plan on how to beat you, it's out there. Yeah. I mean, you saw it with Kansas City Chiefs after they lost in the Super Bowl. That next year, it was tough for them, man.
Yeah.
Like, because everybody figured out, they saw the tape. But my counterpoint to that was, well, our good coaching staff should also be able to look at that tape and say, this is how they neutralized us. This is how we're going to combat that. And it doesn't seem like Dan Campbell got to that point.
I thought today, the first half, they did both. They did it on the offensive side, and they did it on the defensive side. We've actually won the time of possession today, which I think is really, really important for this team to keep the defense off the field. However, it just keeps coming down to players. You get a couple bad calls that swing the momentum, and you just don't have enough players to make up for it. You know, Josh Reynolds had that huge game the first week that St. Brown was out. We've barely heard his name called since then. Hawkinson, with that massive, massive game a few weeks ago, we've hardly heard his name called since
Hawkinson
then.
had a decent game today. Let me see this. Hawkinson had 4 catches for 48 yards. That's decent.
When he's supposed to be our number one playmaker right now with St. Brown out, that's not decent.
Well, you don't go into the game with St. Brown knowing that St. Brown.
Sure.
If they knew that game planning, I'm sure it would have been a little bit different. But, yeah, I don't know. I have a rough time people picking on Hawkinson. I just don't think he's the problem in this scenario. You know, you look at the rushing statistics. Jamal Williams, 15 carries, 79 yards, 5.3 per carry.
Yeah.
Khalif Raymond, 10 yards per carry, 2 carries for 20 yards. It's one of those games where the Lions did what they were supposed to do, and still it's not enough.
If we hadn't passed the ball all day today, I feel like we could have won. I know that sounds crazy.
They only threw the ball 24 times. And Goff is 19 of 24.
Should have thrown it less.
19 of 24.
Yeah.
And to all the clowns
Actually,
in the chat,
he's 21 of 24 because he completed 2 interceptions.
Oh, there you go. And all the clowns in the chat that want to blame Jared Goff for this loss, how?
Hey, he's not without blame, man. He's got 3 turnovers.
What?
He's got 3 turnovers.
He has one that wasn't a real turnover. We can admit that. Okay. He has 1 interception, right?
But listen, that touchdown or the interception
here's another turnover. It looks like. Oh, not Lawrence. Come on.
The interception that should not have been an interception. He just chucked the ball up on a 2nd down when we were on the defense.
Oh, God.
The Dallas
Micah
Cowboys.
Parsons actually made a play in today's game.
Hey,
now Maz is going to celebrate like
I
he's
can use
good.
that. He's starting in my dynasty team, baby. And it's a forced fumble.
Yeah.
Love that. At this point, I don't even care, you know?
Yeah, way to be a fan. Yeah, what were we talking about? Sorry. There's
okay. Well,
there's 50 seconds left in the game. Dallas is up now 24-6. Yeah, and another turnover.
Let me ask you.
No, we were talking about Goff and the clowns that want to blame Goff for this.
Well,
how? Did Goff fumble on the 1 yard line?
But wait a second.
Did Goff fumble on the 1 yard line to go ahead?
No. Did he chuck the ball up and get an interception in a 2nd down play on Dallas' side of the field where he absolutely should have thrown it out of bounds? Was it a pick? No. But they still got that pick.
So if that's an incomplete pass, are you still saying Goff?
No. I'm saying it was a terrible decision that should have been an incomplete pass, and he made some terrible decisions today. They had some check down short passing. They only had a couple of big plays. For me, though, I want to shift the focus away from Jared Goff because what we've been talking about all week is whether Dan Campbell deserves to keep his job or not. And what I want to ask you is how you felt about his play calling today, how you felt about his decisions on 4th down, how you felt about his decisions to use both his punter and kicker.
I mean, I felt like he performed like a real coach today in the first half.
Which is a step in the right direction, right?
Yeah. I just hate that it took last game to learn that. It took an 0-6 performance going for it on 4th down for you to learn. But maybe people that have been winning football games for a long time haven't been doing this. Maybe I should follow that.
And it's final.
Yep.
24-6.
Officially official. 24-6.
Yeah, my thing is that you have to fail forward. We knew that this guy was an offensive coach or a head coach without any practical experience. Yeah, you've been a tight ends coach and you had a short span where you were coaching, but we knew we were going to have some major growing pains with this guy. But at the end of the day, he still has this team. I think that any other year, any other coach would have lost this team already. We saw massive improvement both defensively and in the play calling. I don't think our offense looked improved today, but our offensive play calling, our head coach decisions. Now, the one decision I really did have an issue with Campbell was we got the ball on the 35-yard line with about 30 seconds left in the first half, 3 timeouts, and he decided not to use any of those timeouts and let the first half die. How'd you feel about that?
I literally tweeted our Woodward Sports group chat like, hey, first of all, Swaggy's got to get out of bounds on that first down run. You get out of bounds, you got about a minute 20 left, 3 timeouts, then you try to get another first down. If that works out, then it's like, okay, now it's game time. Now we can get into field goal range. Neil Rule thought I was an idiot. He says, no, you're getting the ball in the second half. Don't risk it. Just run out the clock, go in 6-3. I can see both arguments, but I like applying pressure.
Sure.
That's my strategy in anything, not only football, but anything in life. I'm playing chess. Like, I want you to have to make moves according to me, not me to make moves according to you.
Yeah.
And that I thought we just kind of tucked our tail between our legs, and that really wasn't something that we should have done. Because you never know. A big play happens. A pass interference happens. You get down, you kick a field goal, you go up 9-3, which still feels better because now if they score a touchdown, you only need a field goal to get back up on top. Like, those are the things that I don't think people think about a lot. And that's what pisses me off so bad about when Dan Campbell kept going for it on fourth and stuff like that. You're taking the doubt out of your opponent when you keep giving them gifts.
Sure. Well, you know, it's like when you were a kid and you did something real stupid and your mom just let you know about it all week. And then the next week, some kind of situation arises and you just really hold back and you don't do what you would normally do because you got in so much trouble. And that's where Dan Campbell was this whole week. So we saw a complete 180 out of him in terms of what kind of a game he called. He went from ultra wild to beyond conservative. And that's
the thing.
But there's
got to be a happy medium, right?
Exactly. Stole the words right from me. There has to be that happy medium. You got to find some balance. Today he kind of caught the Dallas Cowboys off guard because they were expecting wild
ass Dan Campbell.
So today I think that there was some points where, okay, well, he's going to kick this field goal, he's going to punt it, which really opened us up in the second half for a little bit of trickery, for a fourth down,
and
attempt.
That's what those plays are there for. Like, the fourth down attempt is there. Like,
1 or 2 a game, not 6.
Well, yeah, and honestly, most NFL teams, they have like a playbook for fourth down or 2-point conversions, right? That are 4th and 2, something like that. And it's about 10 plays deep. When you spill all those 10 plays the first 3 games in the season, you got nothing left in your bag.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You got to have your most efficient plays for that moment. And when your most efficient plays are on tape over and over and over, they don't become efficient anymore. I mean, this is the NFL. Those guys get paid a lot of money too.
Yeah, and it's clear that we only have so many things that work on this team. So once you take the trickery away and people know what might be coming and expect it, you're really left in a position where you've got to be conservative. You've got to utilize the things that you have. We just don't have the players healthy right now to take the chances that we need to do. And, last week or 2 weeks ago, we obviously saw him taking the chances with a roster that can't take chances. Today, I wanted to see 1 or 2 chances. That's all I wanted to see, to get a little risky in the second half.
You didn't get any.
So now my question for you is this. Which football would you rather have? The wild, just who knows what's going to happen?
This kept us in the game. We had a chance to win this game.
Agreed.
That I like puncher's chances, and that's what you need when you're the under-talented team. Because at some point, there will be some breaks that go your way. Here's the question, though. Are you concerned with our offensive coordinator now? First 5 games of the season, he was Jesus. He could do no wrong. He's the next head coach. He's the influx that the Lions needed. First time since 1970. 52 years.
Even I wasn't alive then.
52 years the Lions didn't score a touchdown in back-to-back games. Now, I'm not going to panic about Ben Johnson. I think he's fine. I think he's good. But I think everybody that was on the Ben Johnson's the next Sean Payton, McVay, let's dial that back, because let me reiterate that. For the first time in 52 years, not the 0-16 team, not some of the horrible teams that we've seen, first time in 52 years the Lions have failed to score a touchdown in back-to-back games.
Rough.
That's on the OC, right? I mean, if we're gonna put Aaron Glenn to the fire like we did for having a horrible defense, what is no touchdowns in 2 games?
Our best receiver, our best running back are both out. That's still not an excuse to not score a touchdown, But I can only imagine the flow at practice. It's got to be very difficult. You thinking you're going to get St. Brown back this week, but you probably didn't get to use him much. And it's been, 3 weeks that he hasn't been able to really practice or, have any kind of consistency with the quarterback play. And then without Swift, you really know what's coming in terms of the running game. We're going to throw Netflix at you, or we're going to throw Swaggy at you. It's not going to be a whole lot of trickery. It's just going to be up the gut. Maybe a quick sweep to Raymond. But otherwise, the dynamic play and both running and catching from DeAndre Swift is sorely missed. And that change-up between having the Pounders, the Thunder and the Lightning, we have no Lightning right now. And in terms of moving the ball on third down and moving the sticks and getting first downs, that is St. Brown's job on this team, and he was amazing at it while he was healthy. He's gone. We don't have an identity offensively whatsoever unless we're running the ball. And the moment you find yourself down in a game like this, you can't run the ball anymore. And our offensive passing game is quite inept right now. And then if Goff makes mistakes, exacerbates the entire situation. No mistakes out of Goff today, and this is probably a win.
Maybe. I mean, you never know, right? Yeah. To me, it's the Swaggy fumble. Actually, I love Jamal Williams, but Jamal messed up 2 touchdowns today.
Yes, he did.
Because there was a play in the first half when he missed a block and Goff got sacked where Khalif Raymond was running down the middle of the field, no safety. He was wide open. It was a clear touchdown if Swaggy gets his block, and then he fumbles on the 1-yard line. And that's what people are saying in the chat when I'm talking about Ben Johnson right now, the woodwardsports.com chat. What are they saying? Did he fumble on the 1-yard line? No, he didn't. But this is still 8 quarters without a touchdown.
Yeah.
You can take away the Swaggy mistake. Okay, that's fine. I'll give you 1 quarter. That's still 7 out of 8 quarters in 2 games you haven't scored.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Swaggy is not a starting caliber number 1 running back in this league. He just isn't. He wasn't when he was in Green Bay, and he's not supposed to be while he is here. But he's being asked to do as much as he's being asked to do. I think that we should be seeing a little more Craig Reynolds, to be quite honest with you. Not having those 2 massive playmakers for this offense is a real hit. I don't want to call for anybody's job right now. I think AG had a great game today.
I thought so, too. I mean, it helped that Dak is coming off an injury, and it was probably a rusty Dak.
Sure.
But I thought he had a great game. Aiden Hutchinson showed up.
Yep.
He got 2 more sacks today. Was that part of Josh Pascal finally being active? That's a good question. Yeah. I mean,
defensive line looked solid today. And no Harris, right? Harris was injured again this
I don't
week.
think he was playing. But who impressed me was Elliott.
Elliott was fantastic this year.
Wood.
Been fantastic this year.
Like, he was coming in and finishing guys, putting them out of the game. That is the most physical I've seen the Lions defense play in a long, long time.
The only thing I don't like about him is his name is kind of Sean Elliott.
That's all right. I
hate
care.
Sean Elliott.
Who cares? If he can play football.
Bro, we traded Dennis Rodman for Sean Elliott.
Listen, I don't care. I don't care what your name is. If you can play football, you are welcome on the Detroit Lions.
I guess if you put the D in front, it kind of makes it the anti-Sean Elliott.
There we go.
I've been really enjoying him, especially with Walker out. He's filling a massive hole in the secondary that I thought was going to be a major, major problem. It's still a problem. We're hemorrhaging points week after week. But the defense definitely got better today. The offensive play calling and the evolution that I saw out of Campbell, Dan Campbell today, made me feel a lot better. And that brings me to my next question for you, Stick. Is the rebuild behind schedule?
No.
I don't think so either.
I think that's why a lot of fans are disappointed this year, because we thought it was ahead of schedule. Mm-hmm. You know, the hype from Hard Knocks and all of that. But this is why you sign a guy to a 6-year deal. Year 3. And that's what Darren McCarty has been saying, and he's on Big D Energy Monday through Friday, 11 to 1, and I'm sure he's going to bring up his clock, because he's got this little clock, and he calls it D-Max Clock, and he wants you to pay attention to the clock. He said, I'm not judging Dan Campbell till after 34 games. But with that being said, Dan Campbell has the most losses in the NFL since he became a head coach.
Yeah.
So at what point do you start judging Dan Campbell? And, because you're watching in New York, 2 teams, young coaches, all of a sudden, they're good.
I mean, he took over what was basically a college roster. It was like a XFL roster with some solid players. I didn't hold anything against him last year aside from whether he could keep the team together, keep them motivated, keep them competing in the second half of the season, which we clearly saw. That can still happen this season, big time. We could see a second half. But if we get Swift back, we get St. Brown back, there's some cohesion, some understanding of how to play or call plays on the offensive side.
But how much did that momentum carry over this year from last year? Down the stretch, they looked good last year, right?
What did we add this year?
But down the stretch, they looked good last year.
I wouldn't say they looked good.
Well, they were like 3-3 in their last 6 games.
Were they? I mean, it's still barely 500. There was promise.
I get that.
There was
right.
promise.
But that's my whole point is coming into this season, it was like, oh, man, these guys, at the end of last season, they started to put it together. If we have that same storyline this year, it's worthless to me because we know going into next year, it doesn't matter what we do.
Is there any better possible storyline than a good second half finish at this point?
Number 1 overall pick.
Well, but I mean that's okay. I'll take that.
I mean, they roll in the tanks, as Neil Rule says. I don't know. After this, man,
I'm not worried about the rebuild. I know that what we had in terms of a working roster was not on the level, and we didn't spend and invest the money that it would have taken to try and be a barely 500 team this year. And I think that was a smart move. Holmes knows what he has this year in terms of personnel, but he also understands the amount of money that the Lions have coming next year for free agency. We're going to have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. So for me, I'm not screaming, let's get rid of these guys or make changes right now. Again, it's not for long, so change is the great predictor of failure in the NFL. I have watched these guys learn, AG and Campbell both getting their jobs being called for last week, and I thought they both really, really adjusted well this week. Saw some improvement from Hutchinson, saw our second-round pick actually play and contribute a little bit. I really am okay with the direction of this team despite the losses. I expected nothing this year. The only reason I said 6 wins was because Vegas said 6.5. I would have said 5, to be quite honest with you, which I still think that they can do.
It's just tough because I think they are a better team than what they've shown. We have less wins on the field, and that's frustrating, right? Mm-hmm. It's frustrating because you can see flashes of it, but you can also see that it's so far off from being a complete thing. And that's kind of what I was talking about on the pregame show is at least early in this season when the offense was the number 1 offense in the league and Jared Goff is
something to talk about.
It was, okay, this team is halfway there.
Yeah.
Now, they've almost flip-flopped. The offense can't even put up a damn touchdown in 2 games. And the defense looks better, but they're not good by any stretch of the imagination. So now it's like, we don't even have a building block. Besides Jack Fox. That's our building block. That's the only thing we have locked in.
So he is making just under $4 million a year with the new contract. He punted 3 times today and got a touchback, but he also gave up a 52-yard return. Is that a decision that you like? Giving that much money to the best punter in the league? Whatever.
I mean, $3 million a year. It is what it is. It's always good. Special teams is 1/3 of the game, whether we want to admit it or not. Yep. Would I rather have a field goal kicker that can bang it from 60 yards? Probably. But Jack Fox is a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah,
and I've never seen a Super Bowl MVP punter. I've never seen a punter get his team into the playoffs, but field position is a major part of this game. And luckily, Dan Campbell realized that today and understood, hey, let's pin these guys and make them earn it. Because that's my big thing with him constantly going for it on 4th down is you're giving these guys opportunities. Instead of it having to be a 10 to 12, 14-play drive to get a touchdown, not only needs to be an 8-play drive.
Yeah.
Well, the odds of you committing a mistake in 8 plays compared to 14, less than half or about half. So it's like, That's why I like keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, and in the future, we might actually be playing with a lead, which is really nice for having a good punter.
What is that?
I have no idea.
What is a lead?
I can't even remember. I got to say this, though. Detroit sports fans, all 4 of these teams, I know that the expectations and excitement was huge this year, but they're all waiting for next year. Every single one of these teams, they have the pieces in place with the future capital to be able to make some major moves in the offseason. Have faith. Have faith.
Can we give out some flowers today, too? Jeff Okuda?
Oh, man.
He deserves his flowers. That guy played his ass off today. He played fast. He played physical. He was constantly in the plays, diving. He prevented a couple big runs by coming in and crashing down from his cornerback position.
12 tackles.
12 tackles.
3 assists.
My God.
And 1 tackle for loss.
And
they weren't throwing at him, really.
No. And honestly, that's nice to see, right? Yeah. Hutchinson showing up. Okuda's showing up. Those are nice stories. Pascal playing.
Yep.
Those are nice stories. But then you got an Alex Anzalone on your team, which, my God. My God.
Shout out to our young buddy Lucas, who watched the game with us today, and he said it best. Damn, Anzalone, he's slow.
Not only is he slow, he's not smart.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be slow, you better be smart. And
I feel like
that offside penalty that he had was, I almost threw my drink across the room.
It was 7-7 in penalties today. I'm throwing up 5 fingers on each hand, but it was 7-7 at least until the last maybe minute or so penalty-wise. But every single one of our penalties were at such crucial moments and drives. Whether it was on defense or offense, it was very frustrating today because it felt like we were keeping the penalties down through the first half, but then we saw a bunch in the second half that really, really cost the team. And that's coaching too. That's young guys that don't have confidence, that are pressing too hard to make plays. I actually feel good about this team going forward into the second half. I'd like to figure out where our offense is, but today, the play calling and the response to what happened to us last week, outside of not scoring a touchdown, I'm a Lions fan.
Well, yeah. And that's,
shut me up, Stick.
The little kid that was watching the game with us, too. Like, I was just watching him watch the game, be so disappointed. I'm like, man, buddy, you're in for a rough life.
He's only been watching for a year, too. This kid had all kinds of info, but he was living and dying on every play, man. It's going to be a long Detroit life for a young man.
Yeah, how do you do that to your kid? I mean, how do you do it? I got to get to the Feldman drive of the game, and unfortunately for the second game in a row, it's a negative drive. I mean, last time they scored 0 points, so I said that the Lions did not participate in the drive of the game. This drive of the game had to have been the Swaggy fumble at the 1 yard line.
Absolutely
not. It
not.
had to have been.
No, I'm going positive. I'm going positive for our friends at Feldman. The first opening play, or first opening drive that we got, we had an opportunity to go down, not take the 3, go for it on 4th. We didn't. We took the points, win up 3-0, which silenced everybody in Detroit. The national media, who is this Dan Campbell, he doesn't know how to coach, and he came out and completely flipped the script, went conservative, took points, put them up on the board.
So you're saying the drive of the game
was half of our point total, yeah.
You're saying the drive of the game is discretion? That's because you're seeing that Dan Campbell learned?
No, I'm saying that the play of the game was the drive of the game absolutely was us coming out there and opening drive. We scored.
Yeah.
We didn't even score a point last week or 2 weeks ago.
I get that, but how much did that affect the game? Let's be honest.
I think
the drive that affected the game the most was the fumble by Swaggy that's what I interpret auto drive of the game being, the one that affected the game most. So,
see, what I saw out of that first drive set the tone for the whole first half, and even part of the third period. You saw a very conservative set of game flow. We were running the ball very, very well. We were keeping the ball out of Dallas's hands, and Dallas was struggling to score on us. I loved the tempo and the pace that we set early on. That's why it's my drive of the game. I don't know. I can't do 2 weeks of straight negative drives, man.
I don't know. It's kind of like the MVP voting, right? You can splice it. Is it the best player in the league, or is it the player that helps his team the most? That's the discussion we're having about the drive. Is it the drive that they put up points, actually, or is it the drive that changed the game the most?
Yeah.
I'm going with the drive that changed the game the most, and that's the Feldman Auto Drive of the game. We'll be live at Feldman tomorrow. The morning show is going to be there, and Big D Energy, so
I heard that's a great time over there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun in Novi. Stop on by, right off Grand River, hang out. D-Mac will be out there.
Are they giving away free cars?
I wish.
Me too.
No, but actually, Rodriguez and Pascal now sponsor them too. They sponsor those two, so they're always stopping by.
Cool.
It's a good time out.
You
at
know
Feldman.
the heavyweights like seeing those guys.
Oh yeah. Rodrigo didn't really hear too much from him. I saw him make a couple nice special teams plays.
Today, you mean?
Yeah, today.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about today's
much.
game. Let me look at the stats though. Let's see who had
It's
some
so important for-
Okuda 12 tackles.
That's crazy.
Deshaun Elliott 4 tackles. Anzalone 3 tackles. Owarie 3 tackles. Malcolm Rodriguez 3 tackles. Not a bad game for him.
So in a game that we were up for a while, but then we also trailed all the way in the fourth. When you look at it, we had 26 pass plays and 25 rush plays, and if you take away that final drive when we were forced to pass, we ran the ball more than we passed the ball. I think that's a prescription to success for this team in the second half, especially as long as we don't have St. Brown as well as Swift, because I'd say that Swift is our second or third best receiving threat on the team. I liked the play calling today. They put us in a position to be able to win. Kicking the ball, like you said. We just don't have the personnel,
That's
man.
all I want is competitive football.
Sure.
Without the tricks and all of that stuff. And that's why I think playing the game, quote our boy Larry Brown with the Pistons, play it the right way.
Yeah. This is a 4-point game or a 3-point game for the majority of it. It was the last, 4 or 5 minutes where things changed?
Yeah, and that's when you just start getting desperate. They know you're going to be dropping back to pass. That's where the strip sack fumble comes in. Because what else are you doing with 2 minutes left on the clock, down 20?
Yeah.
You're throwing. So those types of turnovers, I don't really hold against the team, right? I understand the context of them. It's the in-game, in-flow turnovers that really kill you. And that was the fake interception that Dallas had and the fumble by Swaggy. Those are the two biggest plays of the game.
How many... I'd love for the listeners at home to put together a list of all the bad calls that we've had in Dallas over the years. I know there was a flag picked up a while back.
Yeah, heard about that one. So, what do we do here? I mean,
who we got next week?
Do you think Dan Campbell has lost the team?
No.
That to me, that's the biggest win and the biggest takeaway from this game today. And that's what I was worried about. After you get your ass kicked by the Patriots, by your former coach, number 1 offense shutout, are you going to come out and fight? And I saw fight out of these guys. I just didn't see production out of the offensive end. The defense hit harder than I've seen them hit in a long time.
Yeah.
That was nice. And it shows that at least the locker room still bought in. They just still can't execute, which sucks.
How much did the narrative change from last week to this week? I mean, I think it's massive because we could have seen them come out, try a couple more fourth downs, get beat up here. People might really be calling for their job. I think that AG's job is not going to be talked about after this week at all.
Really? Okay.
Well, I mean, look at the defense. The defense was strong. The defense was strong today. And then I think that Campbell they're not going to be talking about, this guy doesn't understand how to manage a game. He's not a head coach. I think we're going to hear that be silenced. I think that's really important coming home to play the Dolphins, who may or may not have Tua. We'll see how hard he gets hit this week.
October 30th, the next game, home against the Dolphins. Then Dan Campbell, here's another point we got to bring up, still winless on the road.
Yeah.
Winless.
Yeah.
Bro,
it's rough.
It's starting to add up. And that's what's scaring me is how it's just piling up.
So the Lions they're at home 2 weeks straight. Get the Dolphins and then the Packers. I think we're beating the Packers. I don't know if we can beat the Dolphins. If Tua comes back, and I mean, he's supposed to play this weekend, but if he ends up staying healthy and coming here next week, It's going to be a tough win.
I don't know who the Lions can beat this year.
The Lions
and
are
that's what
beating the
scares me.
Packers. Mark my words, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It's happening.
Okay.
At least it's going to be win number 2 because I don't like the Dolphins game. I think the Lions can then take that momentum from winning at home against the Packers and go to Chicago and beat the Bears. And then we're going to have to go to New York, who I really don't believe in them. I think that's a game that we'll be able to compete, but we'll probably lose because it is on the road. And then we're going to get smoked like a turkey on Thanksgiving by the Bills.
That's going to be a massacre, man. A massacre. I don't even... that's one of the games where your family already questions why you watch the Lions every Thanksgiving, and then they walk in the living room and it's 35-0 in the first quarter, and you got to convince them to watch the rest of the game. Like, that's what I always run into at the... Why are you going to watch it? You know they're going to lose. Like, just give me my time. It's Thanksgiving. This is my time. Why do you schedule dinner at 3 o'clock when you know the damn game won't be over then? No, stop this. But then this is the year they walk in the room and it's like 35-0. They're just like, yeah, I don't know why I'm still watching. I have no idea.
That's when you actually do turn it off.
No,
I still get massive heat for watching the Lions.
I'm a masochist. I take it. I take it. I love the pain.
I get big heat for Lions on Thanksgiving and for watching NBA on Christmas. I'm telling you, I'm looking at this schedule. I think 5 wins is legitimately doable. I think 6 wins could still happen. So my question for you is, well, I'd like to hear how many wins you think we end up at this point.
I don't know. 1.
But if we end up with, what's the number that we need to end up with this year for people to be okay moving into year 3 with the same regime?
I don't know.
Is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 6?
I don't know. I don't have that answer for you.
I think everybody
has.
Year,
I think everybody has a different barometer.
Sure. I'm asking yours.
You're asking me? At this point, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So if they have 1 or 5, it's to me a failure of a season either way.
6 isn't?
6 is at least doubling your win total from last year.
Okay, fair enough.
I can justify that. Okay, they got markedly better. 4? What the hell does that mean? You won 3 last year with a worse roster. 5? Okay, who gives a damn? 6? All right, now we're starting. 7, 8. Now we're talking, right? But yeah, 6 is probably my bare minimum for me being like, I still believe wholeheartedly in this rebuild. If we come out and lay an egg or lay 4 or 3, it's like, they didn't do shit from year to year, honestly.
What if they finish 5 and 6 or 6 and 5 in the last 11?
5 and 6 in the last 11, so that would put them at what, 6 wins? 6 wins is fine with me.
Yeah, 5 and 6 would be amazing.
I'm fine with that. But
if
you think this team's going to go 500 down the stretch?
No, not at all. But I'm telling you, I'm looking at it. I really think that the Lions will beat the Packers at home. I think they carry that momentum to Chicago and they win 2 games. Lose Giants, lose Bills. Jaguars and Vikings are both winnable games in Detroit. All right? So you figure you get one of those. Now we're looking at 4, and you've got the Jets, Panthers, Bears, and Packers finishing the season between those 4 to try and pick up 2 more. I'm actually crazy and drinking Kool-Aid, washing it down with cornbread. But I like the trajectory of this team. I think that the coaching staff is failing forward. We're going to get healthy. If we can continue to mix things up and throw those, different looks out of familiar sets, this could be a team that changes things, and now you've got a little bit of momentum and a little bit of style to be able to draw some free agents to at least come meet us in the summer, much less sign with us. But
that's all wonderful thinking.
Yeah, well, you can't have 2 wins and
wonderful.
expect free agents to want to come here.
No, man, you can't only improve your win total by 2 and expect free agents to want to come here.
I don't know, man. With all the draft picks that you get, the money that they'll be able to throw around,
but that's the thing, we're gonna have to overpay. So we're it's a recession here in Detroit. Like our money ain't worth what it's worth out there in the rest of the world.
It's a permanent depression.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like we have to overpay for inflation is real for NFL players here in Detroit.
Man.
The good news is we're gonna have $70 million on the cap, so we have some room to make some money. Goff. is going to become a very polarizing conversation in this town.
Yeah.
Like a very polarizing
He sure
conversation.
wasn't polarizing up until last week. He was just exciting.
Yeah.
But after just disappearing last week and some mistakes this week, he's starting to look like the Goff we thought we got instead of the Goff we had to start this year.
See, I thought the Goff we had to start this year is the Goff we got. Like, I wouldn't say I'm like a fan of Goff, but I believe in Goff.
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to put it.
Maybe with DJ Chark and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Mr. Swift back on the field, he might start looking like the Goff we had.
Well, now we're starting to play like we did when Matthew Stafford was here for 11 years. Well, if we had a running game. Well, if we had the wide receivers. Well, if we had the defense. And that's fair because he doesn't have those things. It's fair to say those. But eventually, like you saw with Stafford, it's like, okay, this guy, if he does have it perfect, he can win. 90% of the quarterbacks in the league, if they have it perfect, can win.
Yeah. But at the same point, we knew this team wasn't perfect. We gave him a lot more options than he had last year, and a lot of those options are gone right now. He has looked like a completely different quarterback without those guys in the lineup. The whole offense has looked completely different without those guys in the lineup.
And that's on Ben Johnson, honestly. Like, you gotta draw some stuff up, buddy.
Sure.
You got to have your emergency break glass if Amon-Ra is out.
My thing is you got our number one receiver is not that great of a receiver in Josh Reynolds right now. So you take Josh Reynolds out of the game, you got a whole bunch of gadget little guys like Khalif Raymond that you just can't get the ball downfield to.
Figure it out. What are you paid for?
That is Ben's job.
Tell me how the Patriots have done with their awesome wide receiver sets they've had over the years. No, Tom Brady made those guys into winners.
Yeah, I guess
be better.
I'm really just curious what this offense would look right now because I'm so perplexed by what's happened to them in the 2 weeks. And the only thing that I can point to that is different is the availability of our best offensive players.
Yeah, and that's fair. It's a fair knock, but, injuries are a part of the NFL.
I also want to bring up this fantastic shirt, okay?
Yeah.
And we have all of this new amazing apparel on the Woodward Sports site. There are some shirts that I am definitely asking my mama for Christmas. Real excited about this. This one's brand new. It's nice and crispy, but seriously, you guys got to get on the site and check out some of these awesome shirts we have.
Hell yeah. WoodwardSports.com. Click on shop, and thank you for everybody that's watching right now on WoodwardSports.com. Next week, Miami's in town.
And we're back at the Brass Rail.
And it's a party downtown at the Brass Rail. And as much as I love being in the studio, it is nice to drink our sorrows away downtown with other Lions fans that are leaving the game dejected. So if we get our ass kicked next week, stop by the Brass Rail. Anson and I will be doing the post game. If we win, stop by the Brass Rail.
Popping bottles, baby. Popping bottles.
Either way, we're either popping bottles or we're drinking tequila shots to get rid of our misery.
How nice was bye week last week without the Lions?
I really enjoyed last week.
I did too. the only stress was losing in fantasy,
Yeah, I lost in all 3 leagues. Yeah, I lost in all 3 leagues in fantasy, but still, it was nice. We ordered a bunch of Chubby Charlie's pizza. We sat on the couch and we watched
Chubby's
football.
is bomb.
Yeah, great ass pizza.
So good.
Pickle pizza, underrated.
Pickle pizza,
underrated.
The barbecue chicken, man.
Yep. So get your Chubby
the
Charlie's on
breadsticks though.
Breadsticks,
fire,
and the tub of marinara. Ooh. I think I'm about to get that right now.
I'm a ranch guy.
All right, well, we are out of here. Thank you for watching another WoodwardSports.com post-game show. My name is Stick. That is Anson Wells. And if you want to sit front row to see the Lions play the Packers, that Anson has already guaranteed a win for, this is how you do it. Hopefully you guys enter the contest. And like I said on the pregame show, everybody's like, oh, you're making fun of Dan Campbell with this contest. I thought of this contest at the beginning of the year when we were all hyped for this dude, when Hard Knocks was going on.
Can you even make fun of Dan Campbell, the man? Just as cool.
Man.
He's a man's man.
You can make fun of Dan Campbell right now. But I swear to you, this was not out of meanness. This was out of, I love this guy, and I wanted all of us to have a little fun with it. But here's how you can get front row tickets to the Green Bay game coming up in 2 weeks.
Woodward Sports is giving you another chance to sit front row, this time at the Detroit versus Green Bay game. Think you have the best Dan Campbell impression?
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Can you say man with the best of them?
I got it. Here's what I need, man. I need you to trust me. I swear to God, I'm not a lunatic. I swear to you.
Can you say, let's go for it on 4th down?
Man, I got a plan, I swear to you. All I think about is you guys. That's all I think about, man.
Are you a master motivator?
That's all I think about is you guys.
Show us in a video. Record your best Dan Campbell impression and post the video on Twitter or Instagram using hashtag Woodward Front Row. We'll select the best 3 impersonations of Motor City Dan Campbell and send you and a guest front row. So knock the dust off the old sweatpants, light some kneecaps, and enter today. And as always, go Lions, man!
I just need you to trust me. That's all. Please.
I don't care if I got one toe, 2 butt cheeks, and a rock.